East Midlands today can reveal that a police force has discovered more than 1,000 illegal cannabis farms in the last 5 years. We've obtained details from the Nottinghamshire force using the Freedom of Information Act.
The new figures also show that drug gangs trying to steal cannabis crops have raided almost 400 homes. But more than a third of those robberies targeted innocent households. Our social affairs correspondent Jeremy Ball is here. Jeremy, how much of a problem is this?
Well, these robberies, Dom, are known as cannabis home invasions, and they've become a problem as drug gangs have shifted from using large-scale cannabis factories to growing cannabis in smaller scale farms across several different houses, and that's made these properties a target for rival gangs. Now we can show you some CCTV pictures which show one armed gang breaking into a house in Nottingham at night. Now they didn't find any cannabis because they raided an innocent neighbour's property by mistake, and for the pensioner inside it was horrific, as she described to us last year.
They broke the whole door down. They broke it down in a way that it couldn't be fixed. I was punched and knocked to the floor. The first young man told me to shut up. See, like a Chinese chopper. I looked at it. I couldn't believe this child was holding this blade and coming to me. And he lunged to me.
Clearly that must have been a terrifying experience. What do these new figures actually show?
Well, they show that Mary's far from alone, and in fact now we know the scale of this problem. Nottinghamshire Police dealt with almost 400 cannabis home invasions in the last 4 years. Perhaps most worryingly, 140 of those victims were innocent householders like Mary, and home invasions reached their peak in 2014. Last year the figures show that they did start to improve.
So how are the police tackling this problem?
Well, the Nottinghamshire force ran a big campaign to highlight the dangers of cannabis home invasions. That's led to a lot of tip-offs, which have prompted police drugs raids. And now those raids are finding more and more commercial cannabis grows. The figures show more than 260 so-called cannabis farms were found in Nottinghamshire last year. That's one find for every single weekday. Elsewhere, the numbers were lower. Leicestershire Police found 124 cannabis grows last year. And in Derbyshire, the numbers fell sharply. There they only found 22 commercial cannabis grows last year. Why is that? Well, quite possibly because Derbyshire's police commissioner's made it clear he'd prefer his officers to focus on other priorities instead.
OK, Jeremy Ball, thanks very much indeed.